We are in open session, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Madam, welcome back to the stand. And before we adjourn for the lunch break, we noted that at that point in your testimony had been emotionally difficult for you. We appreciate your effort in coming here to assist, and in spite of those difficulties. All I can say is that the court understands that this is a difficult experience for you. Bear with us while we proceed. These questions will in some instances be difficult, but I can assure you that they are not wasteful. They are necessary questions that are being asked of you to help us find out the truth in this matter. Now, on another matter, while you proceed, also kindly keep in mind the need to allow the interpreters to interpret correctly what you are saying. I know this is easier said by me than done, and I can assure you I understand that. I have been doing courtroom work for a long time, but still, I forget sometimes that there are people who must interpret what I say. I speak too fast. So I know it's difficult, but please do bear it in mind to always try and remember to speak slowly, and also to give some time, some gaps to allow the interpreters to interpret accurately what you're saying. On that note, I thank you again for coming back, and your testimony will continue with questions from the prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honours. Madam Witness, to assist you in regulating your pace, or the pace of your evidence, can I just ask that when you answer your question, you keep one eye on me, and if you see that I raise my hand like this, you will just pause to give the interpreters a moment to catch up. Do you understand?
Answer yes.
Very good. Let's continue. Now, I need to just go back and clarify something which was not 100% clear, and that relates again to the gentleman or the person, Chamalan, who you say you saw through the church window. And in particular, to what he was carrying. Do you remember that?
Your Honour, could I ask that my friend, in order to avoid feedback, just turns off the microphone? Thank you.
Of course, Your Honour, I'll do my best to remember that. Madam Witness, did you understand, or do I need to repeat that?
Why don't you repeat?
Ninasema kila wakati alikuwa na kibuyu ya blue.
The witness, I'm saying this to you. That person had a blue jerry can.
And can you tell the chamber what this blue cherry can was made from? What material was it made from?
Kibuyu ni cha plastiki.
Answer, that jerry can was made out of plastic.
And can you estimate the size of the jerry can, the volume of liquid or the volume of the contents which it could carry?
Sababu ya mimi niseme kibuyu.
Answer. It was a jerry can that contained petrol, and when it was used, it was to burn down the church.
And what did Chemelon do with that jerry can?
Wakati waliasha mattress chini, alikirusha juu ya mabati.
Answer. He poured the contents of the jerry can onto the roof.
Thank you. You also mentioned earlier that mattresses were set alight. Can you please describe to the court where these mattresses were at the time they were set alight and how they came to be set alight?
Walichukua zile gondoro wakasimama.
Answer. They took the mattresses and they put them up against the wall of the church.
And then what did they do to them?
Waliasha moto.
Answer. They set the mattresses on fire.
When the mattresses and the roof started to burn, what was the reaction of the people inside the church?
Kila mtu alikuwa anatafuta njia kujiokoa.
Answer. Everyone was trying to find some way to get out of there.
Was there any difficulty in getting out of the church?
Hivyo ilikuwa vigumu sana.
Answer. Yes. It was difficult to get out of the church, since some people were in front of the small door. And the big door, well, you see, there were some bicycles there, and if someone tried to get out and escape, the person would fall.
Tell us more about how these bicycles came to be at the big door.
Hizi baiskeli tulikuwa tumekuja nazo hapo kanisani.
Answer. They were bicycles that were used to go to church. Message from the Swahili booth. Could the witness kindly repeat the last sentence of her reply, which the Swahili interpreter did not quite hear?
Could you please repeat the last sentence of your reply? The interpreter didn't hear you.
Baiskeli zilikuwa zetu jinsi moja.
Answer. The bicycles belong to us. They were items, possessions that we were trying to keep.
And how did these bicycles come to be blocking the door of the church?
Your Honour, objection, for obvious reasons.
Hapo kwa kanisa kabla hujafika kwa mlango wa kuingia.
The witness, before getting to the door of the church,
I'm sorry, I missed that last answer. Could you please repeat that?
Gani?
The witness, which reply are you talking about?
Okay. This time back, I was reading the transcript. Maybe that's what allowed the witness the gap to continue answering. There was an objection made. Mr. Khan, you will have to specify. I have an idea of what it could be, but I do not want to presume.
Your Honour, there was a word used that wasn't elicited by way of direct evidence that suggested the answer that didn't come from the witness's lips, and therefore, in our respectful submission, it was an inappropriate and leading question.
The objection is sustained to the extent that a certain word had not been elicited ahead of time. It's up to the prosecutor to decide how to go about it.
I beg your pardon, Your Honour. I'm having some difficulty with my transcription. If I can just see if I can resolve that quickly, because I can't follow what's being said on record.
Well, Your Honour, the easiest way, of course, while my friend does that, is just to put the question again and we can move on.
I'm informed that at page 57, line 17, is the answer I'm trying to clarify, where the witness said it was difficult to get out of the church because people were falling over the bicycles. So I will clarify that.
This would have been one instance where it would have been better if the question were put again, because falling over doesn't get us there to the point that elicited the objection from the defense. And he had agreed that you may pursue the matter and put it on the record rather than put the answer to the witness.
Very well. Let me rather just approach it again. You mentioned that there were certain bicycles outside the, I think you said the big door or the main door. Is that correct?
Ilikuwa ni mlango kubwa ya
Answer. I was talking about the main door of the church. The other door, well, there were young people around that other door who were waiting for people.
I will come back to the other door. Let's focus for now on the main door. The bicycles of which you spoke, who put them in that position where they were at the main door, if you know?
naelezea kanisa.
Answer. I said this. Before getting to the entrance door of the church, there was a corridor, and that is where we would put the bicycles here and there and everywhere. And when the church was burnt down, people took those bicycles and put them all together. So you see, there was no way for people to get out from the church. The people who were trying to flee from the church were not able to get out.
Now, the people who took those bicycles and put them all together, who did that?
Ni wale vijana.
Answer. Those young people.
And do you know why they did that?
Ilikuwa ni njia moja ya kuzuia sisi tusitoke kanisa.
Answer. It was a way to keep us from fleeing, from getting out of the church.
Thank you. And just so we're perfectly clear, which young people are you referring to?
Vijana ya Wakalenjin.
Answer. Young people who belonged to the Kalenjin ethnic group.
You then mentioned that there were young people standing at another door. Can you describe this other door?
Hata wao ni vijana ya Wakalenjin.
Answer. Even those who were there were also Kalenjin, young Kalenjin people.
And what were they doing?
Walikuwa wakikuona unaweza kutoka, wanakugonga, unarudi ndani.
Answer. When someone would try to leave the church, they would grab the person and push them back in.
Your Honor, Your Honours, I'm going to come to a specific aspect of the witness's evidence, a feature of her evidence which may tend to be identifying. I'm going to ask the court to briefly go into private session to deal with this specific aspect of the narrative, and then with the court's permission we can proceed back into open session. If you'd like, I can give you more explanation for why, but if I could do that also in private session, I'd be grateful.
Question is, how long would you expect to be in private session for this?
Your Honours, it should be fairly brief. Again, I expect no more than 10 to 15 minutes. It may be so as not to interrupt the flow of narrative. There might be certain aspects which would not strictly require to be in private session, but with the leave of the court, those can be placed on the record then when we re-enter public session.
I take it, I see no...
Grateful, Your Honours, that's fine. Thank you.
Court officer, we will now proceed into private session.